Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. We got the Financial Services Committee hearing coming up. You're going to want to hear the latest on that. Tether co-founder says nothing to see here, folks. Guess what? Dan Friedberg, in the middle of the FTX Alameda scandal, says they could have counterfeited the coin. Oh my goodness. One prime minister is pushing back on central bank digital currencies, and Ripple partner ACI, crypto payments going globally, baby. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Right now, $894 billion market cap for crypto. We are at flat on that. Now, I haven't seen that many times in my, 4 or 5 years now I've been YouTubing here. Don't see it many times flat. Bitcoin, 17,000, almost on the nose. Ethereum, $1,284 and change. And XRP is 39 cents. Don't forget, Tether's got a market cap of $65 billion. I'm just saying, let's get started. Fintech giant Ripple Labs is available on Link2 platform, as most of you know, at a competitive price point, however. But for how long? Who knows? We secured a small block and are passing the savings on to our members to invest in the portfolio company. Come on in. Let me tell you something. I'm getting ready to pull the trigger, and I might pull it for PolySign. Look, you guys know Link2 is my sponsor, but I'm going to tell you something. I absolutely love being a customer too. Ripple shareholder, PolySign shareholder, and Uphold shareholder, but then you guys went and bought it all on me. I don't blame you. I'd have done it too. But you know what? PolySign right here, special pricing, that is not going to last long. Arthur Brito, David Schwartz at the heart of Ripple. Arthur Brito, David Schwartz at the heart of PolySign. Again, I've heard Jack McDonald talk many, many times, and every time I hear him talk, it sounds like what he's describing to me is the next iteration of the DTCC. Somebody stop me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like to the layman. Yeah, that's what it looks like they're doing, tokenizing, capitalizing, and preparing to settle the entire capital markets. That's what it looks like to me. If I'm wrong, we'll come back and fix it, but link underneath the video for Link2. The darndest thing kids will do, especially when it's not their money to begin with. This is from Mike Belshey here, who rightfully points out that Sam Bankman-Fried said his parents now own the $16.4 million Bahama house was meant for himself or the company. He says, if I had a nickel, Mike Belshey says here from BitGo, if I had a nickel for every time I was buying a $16 million mansion for the company, but accidentally closed escrow in my parents' name. Mike, I got to get you on the Christmas card list, brother. This here from Michael Branch, who's absolutely on the Christmas list. He is an OG in this space. Give him a follow. The United States trustee handling the FTX bankruptcy proceedings has referred to the now defunct exchange as the fastest big corporate failure in American history, and is calling for an independent probe to look into its downfall. I saw a post earlier where the Department of Justice said basically, well, we're looking into it. What are you looking into? Your Department of Justice, go arrest the son of a bitch. It's unbelievable. If it was you or me, we'd be struggling right now just to get our one phone call. And then I want you to hear this, because this doesn't make it any easier to swallow. This is Dan Friedberg, who's right smack dab in the middle of all the FTX Alameda business. And listen to what he says here.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, somehow the Liquid, I don't know Liquid, they may have counterfeited the coin.
They may have counterfeited the coin. Then he goes on to argue with the people that are actually interviewing him there. I believe it's from New Genesis. And it's horrible. It is absolutely horrible what's taking place. And I'll tell you, the only thing more horrible than what Sam Bankman-Fried and everyone who participated at FTX in this scam is the fact that mainstream media and now government officials are propping him up as if Sam Bankman-Fried is the actual victim here. It is despicable. We're not done yet. Maxine Waters, this is the example I'm talking about right here. And you never thought I'd say it, but I'm going to agree with Jake Travinsky today. I don't know what the hell's going to happen out here. Novogratz makes sense now, and so does Jake Travinsky to me. What the hell is happening? I don't understand what's happening. But shout out to both of them. You know, you never know where you're actually going to align with people, and that's why I don't block people, right? Try not to, unless they're absolutely completely negative. SBF says, Maxine Waters, we appreciate that you've been candid in your discussions about what happened at FTX. Your willingness to talk to the public will help the company's customers, investors, and others to that end. We would welcome your participation in our hearing on the 13th. You would welcome their participation? They should drag his ass in there in chains. Let alone this is coming from a half-ass representative because she couldn't even do her taxes right and she's on the Financial Services Committee. Is that dawned on anybody? Because that's a real fact too. Jake Travinsky says here to Representative Waters, we appreciate that you're holding a hearing on the 13th and we look forward to the substantive fact-finding about what happened at FTX. I am certain that the fact-finding will show that SBF-FTX has not, in fact, been candid in his discussions. He committed fraud, full stop. Somebody get the trophy over there to Jake's house. And here's mainstream media. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't want anybody getting sick while they listen to the video.
Sam Bankman-Fried is really becoming the industry's lifeline during a crisis lately. I'm fascinated, endlessly fascinated with Sam Bankman-Fried's role in all of this.
You've been now described as the JP Morgan, if you will, of the crypto business.
A lot of people called you the savior of crypto, the patron saint of crypto.
The Michael Jordan of crypto, if you will.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Sam Bankman-Fried, the JP Morgan of
Fried. SBF, JPM.
Do you know SBF?
And JP Morgan and Jim Cramer's an idiot, right? And that much we don't have to talk about because that's a fact. He proves it almost every day that he is alive on camera. There's no question. Now, here's one thing I can say is that you see the narrative that they were creating there. Now they have to try to walk it back and treat him like a victim because they spent so much time propping up the piece of garbage. That's what's going on now. It's crisis and damage control is what's happening here. Our little baby just got jammed up and we had him crowned as the next Andrew Carnegie or the JP Morgan or the Vanderbilts and every other name they tried to put on him. When the real name that needs to be put on him is scammer. Bernie Madoff of crypto. And as one of my friends inside the Digital Perspective Mastermind group, which you should be a part of, is a killer special there. But I tell you, he said it best. I made a joke about Bernie Madoff's last name being made off, like he made off with the money. And then he makes a joke back and goes, well, how about Sam Bankman-Fried? Like they're trying to free him. And they are trying to free him. And it's despicable. Well, this is Warren Davidson here talking about the Financial Services Committee here. Let's hope they get something done. But I tell you, this all feels like a bunch of, soapbox political posturing to me. But let's listen.
You know that hearings on FTX are beginning this month. What are you expecting to learn? And what is your reaction to him coming out in the middle of all of this and doing this interview, saying he did not commit fraud?
Well, I think the world is stunned that he's not in custody. I mean, when you look at the level of meltdown and the things that we've already uncovered, you just look at the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal from the acting CEO who's coming in putting this together. He's like, this is on a level I've never seen, and he did the Enron restructuring. So, that alone should say he should actually be have brought in and be questioned in the United States, not in the Bahamas right now. So I think people suspect there's another layer of two-tiered justice going on, a lot of continuing concern with the Justice Department. And I think it highlights the frustration that many in this space have had with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
You know that hearing.
Yeah, it obviously does point to the problems we've had with the Securities Exchange Commission. But I tell you what, it's also a problem with Congress, Warren, because you and your counterparts could have solved this problem for us. And then you sit there, and with that lack of energy there, you're like a weak handshake, bro. What the hell, dude? Oh, brother. You know, I tell you, I'm 45 minutes from D.C. I've been there plenty, and nobody there is wearing a cape. And if there's anybody to prove that to you, I think as the gentleman was just talking, he had about as much convincing energy that he was going to be a part of a solution as a box of sand, right? It's unbelievable. And then there's this guy here who wants to portray that he's actually representing the crypto space and wants to help really nail it down. But the truth is, he just wants to actually regulate Bitcoin.
Involve digital assets. But as I have suggested over a year ago, the fraud that we are able to prosecute is likely a fraction of what exists in the shadows. Limited enforcement authority is no substitute for comprehensive regulation in which trading platforms, dealers, custodians, and other critical infrastructure participants are required to be registered and subject to direct oversight by a regulator such as the CFTC.
Yeah, I get all of that, but I do want to highlight right now that FTX was not a fraud in the shadows. FTX was in the offices having meetings with the SEC chairman. You can't make this up.
By the time the CFTC is able to exercise its fraud and manipulation authority, it's already too late for defrauded customers. Identifying unique elements of the digital asset commodity markets that distinguish it from other cash markets, I have asked Congress directly for clear authority to impose our traditional regulatory regime over the digital asset commodity market. I have been greatly encouraged by the efforts from Congress to date. I have not been shy about my encouragement of bills that contemplate shared responsibility for the CFTC and the Securities Exchange Commission.
Listen.
Where the SEC would utilize its existing authority and reporting regime requirements for all security tokens, while the CFTC would apply its market-based rules for the more limited subset of commodity tokens.
More limited subset of commodity tokens. Again, they started all this out, if you remember, very quickly, if I could. Oh boy, they think we're all so stupid. They really do. It is just the oh God, I can't. It's Friday. We got to let it go, right? But here's what I'll do. I'll say this. You know, they pitched it. Remember Senator Lummis, Senator Gillibrand, right? It's half the market's crypto and half the market's securities. I don't understand what's so hard. We've been very open about that. No, you haven't. You've been vague as you could possibly be about it, because the reality is you want people to think that it's a 50-50 split, but you're talking about market cap. And Rostin Benham's really pointing to the fact that he's talking about Bitcoin and the exchanges and the spot market of the exchanges. But the truth is what we're really talking about here is we're talking about taking one asset, maybe two, putting it at the CFTC and everything else under Gary Gensler's control. Again, XRP holders, every one of you out there hearing my voice, you got this from day one and how important the SEC versus Ripple case is, because that's what they're trying to do. And that's why the case is so important outside of the designation and clarity just for XRP. It goes to the whole crypto space. And speaking of the whole crypto space, here we got this guy right here. Reeve Collins, co-founder of Tether, talking to none other than Andrew Sorkin, the apologist for Sam Bankman-Fried. And let me walk you through this, Sam. You know, I was calling you, the JP Morgan of crypto and all of this business. Right now, we're going to talk to him like he's a victim, like he dropped the winning pass in a Super Bowl. Better luck next time. You'll get it next time, buddy. Yeah, somebody needs him to give a fidget spinner and sit his ass in jail. That's the rest of your career. That's your life, Sam. You have ruined people. You know what I want to know? How many people in this FTX scam and collapse have harmed themselves? You think it's a game now? You think it's funny now? You want to soft pedal your little chosen child, SBF? How many people harmed theirself because of what Sam and his counterpart and his co-workers did there?
So let me ask you, as it relates to Tether, about the trust issues, if you will, because I think there's skepticism, there's questions, and I think the questions that have sort of come from the fallout of FTX have now been put onto Tether, though, frankly, there have been questions about Tether for some time. I want to just read you two sentences. This is from the Wall Street Journal. You've seen the story. Tether which is incorporated, as you know, in the British Virgin Islands, doesn't publish audited financial statements or complete balance sheet, leaving outsiders with an incomplete picture of the company's health. And there's a gentleman, Peter Crane. Peter is the president of Crane Data. He says, I've been skeptical and in disbelief that they, that is you, can get away with the lack of disclosure and with limited transparency. If you do have reserves, why don't you show them?
Right.
And so I'll ask you the question, why don't you?
Well, what I can say is in the last 8 years of Tether's operating history, they've always redeemed every token for exactly $1. I sold the company in the end of 2015, and the principals have continued to operate that with, in my opinion, to the absolute best of their ability and with the best risk mitigation tactics in the industry. It has withstood the test of time.
Look, first of all, he didn't even answer the question. And respect, I know he's not there anymore. I wouldn't even allow myself to go out here and represent Tether if I sold my stake in it, my position in 2015 or whatever it was he said. It's embarrassing. Let me ask you this question, hotshot, because I know that CNBC's not going to ask it, because at some point they probably thought you were the next JP Morgan. You may be the next set of Kennedys, is what you may be. The US dollar is a product of the Federal Reserve. How about that notion? Let me ask you a question that they don't ask there at CNBC. What do you think subpoenas will do to the USDTether market cap? I'm asking for millions of crypto customers who actually hold it. Stop playing games with the US government. If you're on the up and up, stop talking and prove it. The reality is, Tether co-founder saying that it has proven through the test of time is not proof of anything. The fact that you've been able to cover doesn't mean you're doing it properly. Consumers, investors deserve the transparency, and USDTether should desire legitimacy for the US regulators. You are, in fact, offering a digital version, which is a product of the Fed. It's called the US dollar. I don't think that ends well, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. Ripple ally very quickly here in the SEC. They can't come to an actual agreement in the library case. Things are tangling up here a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see what comes of this. Shout out to James K. Filan for the information here. He says, library, with the consent of the SEC, has filed a motion for an expedited briefing schedule concerning the remedies sought by the commission. Remember, this is in the first district court, not the second district court. John Deaton has told us that he believes that that will be... what do you call it? It will not have the same power or effect as the Second Circuit Court where the SEC versus Ripple is, but it doesn't mean that the SEC won't use it as a reference to the judge in the SEC case. Now, here we see pushback that we haven't seen as of yet. New Prime Minister of Italy is coming out against central bank digital currencies. Well, I tell you what. Central bank digital currency money bothers the daylights out of me if it's going to be directly connected to retail. If they want to use it wholesale back in, I don't have a problem with it. If they want to use it wholesale back in, you go right ahead and do it. But I don't want to see it tied directly from the central bank to the citizen where they can cut your money off. I think there needs to be a two-tiered system there. That's why I keep leaning into like USDC. And none of that's perfect. And truthfully, paper money's better than anything. But I'm also old enough to know where the world's going. But I love seeing that because that opens up the conversation a little bit. And I love seeing this. Let's finish strong today. From DJ Peter Vass, give him a follow, says, just like the massive news breaks out here, ACI Worldwide and Vendo Services partner to enable merchants to offer cryptocurrency payments globally. Well, I just want to remind all of you that in this article, this is a Euro payment service provider right here, and we know that there is the micro regulations, and there's Ripple just applied in Ireland to get a license there, and they want to be able to use the location in Ireland to serve the broader EU jurisdictions. And let us not forget that ACI and Ripple are partnered up, ladies and gentlemen. And so is also Currency Cloud. So I just want to put that connection together on this Friday. That's where we are. The markets may be a mess, but I believe it's what we got to go through to get out the other side. The question is, what does it look like when we come out the other side? I'm going to leave it there. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. Check out all the links underneath the video. They're great products and specials I use each and every day. And don't forget to check out that Digital Perspectives Mastermind group. You'll see the link. Click it. Join. I'm telling you, invest in yourself. Now's the time when real wealth is made. Don't miss out on your opportunity to get in there and see if you can use those tools. I guarantee you, you will come out better than you went in. I'll catch all of you on the next one.